What made you to choose HR?
So it goes back to my roots when I did my graduation. I was always interested in working with people, connecting to people, and also see how you could focus on people development. People development is not easy.
Okay.
Understanding someone, their capabilities, tapping their potential in them, and trying to give them a clear journey and a path to see how they can move forward. Through my journey in operations, I discovered that my strengths and my skills lie in communication, articulation, training, and facilitation. I've always had a chance and opportunity to do that over my career, in different shapes and forms. And we all have an aha moment in our lives, right?
Correct.
When you have a passion and a purpose that drives you. So I discovered that this is what I always wanted to do.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the episode 10 of the Leaders Speak podcast. Today, I have a very energetic person, Anjan. He has a 15 years experience in banking sector. He started his journey from operation to HR. And recently, last year, 2024, he awarded top 100 HR leader in Bangalore by Success Talk. He's a foodie. He loves to travel, attending conferences, networking with the young people. He is helping and engaging with more younger professionals. He helps them, mentoring them, guide them, and inspire. Let's dive in to continue the conversation with Anjan. Welcome to the podcast, Anjan. And how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Basuraj, for having me here today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Let's talk about yourself, like where you born, what is your education, what is your family background. Just talk about
Oh, wonderful. So I was born in Mumbai in a place called Chembur back in 1988. Don't guess my age now, but
okay.
and my roots are from there. Native is Chennai,
Okay.
but I always call myself to be a Bangalorean.
Okay.
I've been in Bangalore for the last 34 plus years. So that's my roots.
Okay.
We are a family of two.
Okay.
Me and my father. I lost my mother way back in during my childhood to cancer. So we've been just the two of us. We're more like friends that we've come up over a period of time in life. And what I love doing is I love listening to music, traveling, and I'm a foodie. So I enjoy trying various options of food from the roadside eatery to the 5 stars. I think I've tasted it all.
That's great.
So,
Okay.
so that's something that keeps me going. I love connecting with people, working, understanding what they have to offer and what I can help them with in their journey. So that's what drives and gives me some value and purpose to what I do every day in my life.
Okay. And all education done in Bangalore or you done?
My education is completely in Bangalore. So my father was working in Tata Electric company in Bombay. So he was a chief engineer in power generation.
Okay.
And he had a traveling job. So he wanted his children to study in one place. So I've done my entire schooling in college in Bangalore. And also I work here. So, which is why Bangalorean by heart. Because everything that I am today is because of this city. So it's my chance to give back to it.
Right. I think you are working one of the banking sector. It's been more than 15 years, right? And as a HR, I know that. Why HR? Why not any other profession? What made you to choose HR?
So it goes back to my roots when I did my graduation. I was always interested in working with people, connecting to people, and also see how you could focus on people development. People development is not easy.
Okay.
Understanding someone, their capabilities, tapping their potential in them, and trying to give them a clear journey and a path to see how they can move forward is what drove me into that space. But of course, not all journeys begin the same way as you anticipate it to be. I wanted to be in HR. My BBM was in HR, but 2009 came recession, and there was not a lot of jobs available out there. So I made my foray into finance, my next best option.
Okay.
So I joined into the finance domain. I was in operations for quite some time. But through my journey in operations, I discovered that my strengths and my skills lie in communication, articulation, training, and facilitation. I've always had a chance and opportunity to do that over my career
Okay.
in different shapes and forms. And we all have an aha moment in our lives, right?
Correct.
When you have a passion and a purpose that drives you. So I discovered that this is what I always wanted to do. I wanted to be in talent management and development space, be a facilitator. I'm very passionate about what I do. So, which is what drove me to get into this space. I'm fortunate to find that opportunity within my existing organization. And I made a shift from operations to HR.
Oh, that's
So I
great.
come with that strong operational background as well, understanding the business, and then I bring that flavor into HR and add value wherever I can. So that's how my journey has been from operation. That's why HR.
Acha. As you mentioned, like you started with the operation, then you moved to HR. When you compare two different departments, what is the difference as like according to you?
So I'll tell you, it's a parallel line.
Acha, okay.
Okay, so
Operation more into system and process oriented.
it's all about how you envision and look at it.
Okay.
So now, as I started my journey, if you look at operations, you'll have to build a lot of acumen
Okay.
in your initial years. So it's all about in your initial years, you're focused on building your technical skills.
Okay.
You're trying to be the subject matter expert. You're trying to be the person who understands the systems, has a knowledge, builds that up, and goes into the foray. Then there's a shift that comes on everybody's life, where you move from technical to that of people. Okay, so your technical skills got you there.
Okay.
Now you need to shift that technical to about 80% of people skills
Okay.
to move or make that shift from an individual contributor to a people manager or a leader. And I think when that shift happened, I got to realize that as a leader, you're the same person, be it you manage operations or you manage human resources. Your leadership qualities are the same.
Same. Okay.
So when you're in the operation, there's a lot of mentoring, guiding, coaching, and you need to look at how you strategize yourself to see what's ahead. In operations, there's a constant churn of the wheel. It doesn't matter whether you're having people who are at right, or it doesn't matter whether you have new people or tenured people or existing people. How do you handle that people dynamics?
Okay.
In operations is very complex, and it's time is money, right? So every single minute you'll have to get things going. But when I compare that to human resources, it's more thought driven. You know what you're getting into in your day. Your day is more planned, more structured. You have a foresight into what you want to get to. But the journey is long. And you will have to have that patience to make that journey happen. And along the way, you get to learn as well. So it's a two different parallels. I would say I learned a lot from my operational journey, built a lot of experience. I leverage a lot of that into where I am today in terms of talent management and development. And I try and see if I can how I can power myself through. So that's how the shift is between operations and HR. It's very difficult to draw a parallel.
Yeah, I got it, got it. But as you mentioned, like the purpose of choosing like HR is because you want to be more people person, right? You love that like communication with that. Now in present trend, how do you think that still that people come that what you call a personal touch or more into people is still is continuing, or there is a more on technology things going to come on HR?
I anticipated you would ask me this. So the fact that no matter how much of technology comes,
Okay.
let's go back to roots. We made technology, right? So it's man-made.
Yeah.
So you can't take that away from what we do. And I recently also had an article that I posted on LinkedIn around the same thing. Human intelligence and artificial intelligence are here to stay. Okay, technology is here to stay. How do we leverage technology to still connect with people?
Okay.
It gives so connecting with people is a common term. Only mediums change. So you have a platform where it's in person, we're connecting now. There could be a platform which is virtual, yet I connect to people. So I think how do you leverage technology to still have you connect with people? Nobody can take away the in-person experience that you possibly have. It's sure shot not to be taken away. But how do you create a conducive environment, even in a virtual environment, which helps you to connect people across continents, across geographies, in the time zones which are different from that of yours, is what I think technology plays a role in how you connect to people. Uh, in a fact, I would say technology has only amplified your ability to connect to different sets of people. Imagine, let's take an example. Imagine you did not have technology and all you had is to connect with your vicinity of people. How much could you go? To what extent could you scale yourself? You could probably connect with Bangalore, India, possibly within wherever you travel, you're able to touch point and connect to different sets of people. But with technology, you're able to leverage that. So technology is here to stay. How do we make use of technology to connect to people? The purpose doesn't change.
Got it.
When you're driven by a purpose, the purpose is always going to be the same. But how you use the resources around you to propel you into that purpose, I think that's possibly for me how it is when you connect with different people.
Yeah. Yeah. As you talking about more on technology, you're going to, now there is a lot of buzz happening, AI, right? How do you take it at AI? Like how much that going to impact on HR profession or maybe HR department was? What do you take on that?
So my take is AI, we've barely scratched the surface. It's just come. And it's man-made intelligence at the end of the day.
Okay.
We could make or fine-tune it to do what we want it to do. Okay, right? Tomorrow, will we coexist? If your question is, will we coexist and how would it impact the HR landscape? We will coexist and we will learn to coexist. The human element can never be taken away. No matter amount of TCs you drive into a machine, it will only give you the same exact result. But only a human mind can think beyond that exact result. So a human can never be replaced. We only can coexist, work with each other. So the landscape that we see, and I see a lot of forums where we talk about this today, even in the fraternity, I think AI is definitely here to stay. But how do AI and HI work with each other? That's where we come into picture. We add a lot of value. Now, AI can feed, you can feed AI into all the knowledge that I have,
Okay.
but it can never demonstrate the experience that I have carried. It can never emulate the feelings that a human has. You could say, you could talk about the movie, robot that was created with a lot of human feelings and effects that was modulated. But at the end of it, they cannot comprehend it. It's beyond machines to comprehend, which is where I think we will add a lot of value. We will add a lot of purpose because our experience is beyond textbooks. What we carry as a legacy that we've been through. So there's a saying that I always go through, right? Only when you go through something is when you grow through something. And that's exactly how things are. A machine can tell you 1,000 things, but the intuition is always personal.
Got it.
And machine could tell you that this is totally not made for you. But today, there's a lot of people who have broken that monotony, right? And they've achieved greater heights. If they had believed in a machine to say you're not fit for doing this, you think they would have achieved what they've achieved today. So I think it's important for us to know that both of them has to be respected. Both have their own caliber and capabilities. It's built by us. So we have to give equal respect to both of it. From a HR fraternity standpoint, or how would it impact HR? It will impact HR in terms of it will remove all of the mundane activities that we do. It makes things simple for us. So our focus is going to be to work on real life people problems. Our focus is to help develop people, drive talent, build capability. And I think there's going to be a lot more exciting stuff for us to do because the mundane is going to be taken care of by machines. So we have a lot of leverage for us to have comprehending a lot of data. How do you analyze, see what you need to do, help shape organizations' future and help drive culture. I think all of these aspects are something that could be deep rooted in what we do. If you like.
Got it. Yeah, you were from the large kind of organization, okay? And how much that impact be on a small scale or MSME owners? Is it there's the same kind of impact when it's come we talk about AI or there's a difference?
No, ground level, if you look at it, agnostic of any industry, the core remains the same.
Okay.
You are going to have, now, people do ask a lot of questions to say, am I going to lose my job?
Yeah.
No, that's going to be a $1 billion question, right?
Question everyone, yeah.
No, but you're going to do something different.
Okay.
You might have to learn something different. Given an involvement of a machine coming into play where it could do something that you will have to do, what you do might be doing slightly differently than what you're doing today. You might have lesser things to do. So you might go away from doing it to monitoring it. You might go away from doing from rock bottom to somewhere in the step 4 or step 5 is where your involvement will start. So you will have to upskill yourself. You will have to understand and accept the change. It's going to be slightly difficult in the industries that you mentioned because in the industries that you mentioned, we've got a lot of raw skilled labor.
Correct.
But I think that's where leaders like us come into play, where you will have to kind of figure out those gaps. And within the organizations, there could be a lot of leaders who figure out those gaps and see how do you fill those gaps and provide people an opportunity to upscale themselves. So they are also having to add a lot of value and yet be part of the same ecosystem. So it could be something different that we.
Okay. When we talk about MSME or SME industries, do you have anything of a kind of a platform that they can upskills themselves, like they're like maybe in HR fraternity only? Do you have any platform that they can go through those kind of courses or something, because you will be attending so many conferences and you'll be attending so many seminars and all, you'll be knowing couple of things that can be help them. Like,
I think that's where technology comes to play. Everybody's got a phone in their hand.
okay.
So they have accessibility to technology is so much easier today. The world is an ocean. You have the internet with you. They can go out to all of the resources that they have. How they build themselves. There's not one platform, okay, Vaswaraj, in terms of how people do this, because there could be different spaces. You could learn from different individuals.
Yeah, yeah.
You could connect to people, right? You could set up time with them, learn from their experience. You could Google to probably take a course, and language agnostic. I'm not talking about courses only in one language. There are courses available in all different languages today because of courtesy technology that we can. You have YouTube videos. You have a lot of free podcast content. You have a lot of resources that is available to everybody's disposal today. They can reach out to their local networks that we have. The government is supporting. The government has their own portals where you have a lot of free resource content available in people. So the intent to learn versus the available resources, there's a lot out there. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything. There are people designing solar systems by just watching YouTube videos.
Right.
Okay, so I think we've come a long way, and there's no dearth for resources. There's not one resource that I like to kind of call out and limit aspects to it, because I know a lot of people are watching, so it's important that everything is open out for people. There are free resources available. How do we choose what's for us? It depends on our individual interest. Do I want to upskill through a structured way? Then I go join a course or a curriculum, and I have a flexibility to join a college, which I could do even from house. Distance learning is there today. I can learn at any age. And then you have another aspect to say, I want to learn fast. I need to know now. So short tips, tricks, videos are available, hacks are available. I don't know how to create a presentation. I want to learn in 10 days. You have a crash course that's available out there for a very minimal cost where people are ready to teach you. I don't want to do all this. I have my friend who knows everything. I'll go eat his head and probably learn everything that I want to. So you have that space. I have a family member who can teach me. I have my kids. I don't mind learning from my kids. They are faster than me in technology. I'll probably learn from them. That's an option available. So if I name and list, I've already listed about 7 or 8 items. I think you a lot of times we start looking beyond our sphere of influence. When we just look around us, everything is right in our fingertips. But we always go beyond to look at something that's not within our control or vicinity. So I think people should start looking at what they have within themselves. It becomes easy for them to leverage and probably use that to their.
Well, definitely. As you mentioned, like there are different resources available in the market, and one of the podcasts that's why we created this platform specially for the HR fraternity. And there's a lot of learning because you, as a HR head of the organization, you're going to share so many experiences or strategies or struggle, those kind of. Definitely, these kind of things going to help our audience. That's what you want to mention, right? There are a lot of resources available in the market, but I should know which one is going to be useful for me to grow myself. That's what I believe with, right?
And that becomes subjective there, because a resource that is useful for you could not be useful for the next person.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
And next person might say, I want something else. Correct. So it's not one size fits all. And the day we realize that there starts a learning journey.
you talk about we discuss more about the industries wise than technology. Then we talk about how to utilize the resources. When it comes to individual, how the person has to utilize that one.
Could you come back again when it comes to?
Like when the individual person, as you rightly said, that maybe one resource will be useful for me, that may not be going to be useful for other person. When it comes to individual, where he has to focus more on that.
And I think that's a great question. So the first way how an individual could start focusing on themselves is to establish clarity for themselves. Where do I want to get to? What do I want to do in life in general? Evaluating one's own self. Now, there's a lot of pedagogies and things out there, but how do I sit down and understand what are my strengths? What are the areas that I'm not that great at, which I might need focus on? If I can make a list of them, or if I can get help to make that list for myself, So at least I understand myself thoroughly to say I'm good at this, I'm not so good at this, I might need to improve. Once I have that list, how do I evaluate where do I fit in with the aspects that I'm good at? Say if I list down 7, 8 things that I'm good at, what industries or roles or places that I can work where I can use all these 7, 8s to unlimited capacity. Where some of those aspects might come, but I'll be able to manage.
Okay.
And it should not be too much of a stopgap arrangement for me as such. Starting from that space, gaining that clarity, I think is the first step for anybody to decide what they want to do. Often than not, Baswaraj, it's very, astonishing to say that a lot of people don't do that. People shy away from sitting down and evaluating themselves.
Absolutely.
And I think the mindset goes saying, what's wrong with me? I'm good, right? So we're all our own Shah Rukh Khans in our own world, right? But I think we sometimes having a reality check is very important to know where we are and where do you want to get to. Having that humility to be grounded, to know that there's a constant environment to learn and better ourselves, I think helps us to get some perspective for ourselves to see what we're doing. So then our efforts will go in the right direction. So you must have heard this statement, I'm trying everything, but nothing is good. Yeah, right? It's a very common statement that you hear from a lot of people. What are you trying? What is your effort? Where are you putting that effort? What is that you want to do? Asking some of these questions to yourself will probably help you build that clarity and
Get more clarity on himself. Yeah. When you talk about, okay, let's say the person who jot on the list, the clarity wise, okay. Okay, I got a clarity what I need to do, but I have a self-doubt on self. Because it's maybe applicable individual as well. As a HR head, how are you going to support those people who have a self-doubt on your organization?
I think self-doubt is a common aspect that we see a lot today. It is important to build some confidence in yourself. If you are sure of something that you've learned, sure of some skill that you have, building confidence in yourself is the first step to do it. How do I eradicate self-doubt? Very tough. You can't just do it overnight. But there has to be a process that you kind of follow to do it. Ask yourself, and the first thing I would say is stop saying I'm not good at something as the first statement and start saying I'm good at something the first statement. It might sound very cliche, but the more you manifest something, the more you are positive about something that you have, it gives you strength and confidence to work on things that you're not good at. Okay. So standing here today in front of us, sitting here today in front of you, there could be aspects that I'm not good at. But why do I want to talk about that? That could be 20% of my capability. Rather, I talk about the 80% of aspects that I'm good at. So somebody tomorrow could say, you know what, nobody today, go back and check, nobody today. There are a few section of people who do it and they're successful. Okay. There are a lot of people who say, you know what, I think I'm a great cook. They never say, I am a great cook. There's a difference. I think I can present well. They don't say, I can present well. There is a difference if you see the shift in the statement. The word think is the self-doubt that you're talking about. It takes time for us to remove that. So for which, again, evaluation helps to know what you're good at. And once you know what you're good at, you need to put yourself to some of those experiences to see if you're really good at it. Why? Because it could also be an assumption that you're good at something. That's why I say it is good to evaluate, but it's also good to have a reality check. So if you say you're good at presentation, let's go schedule a time, let's give a presentation. If I'm able to give that presentation, everybody is very happy, fantastic, that's my swing. I evaluate myself, doubt cleared. So next time when I go, I say I'm good at presentations. And self-doubt is at the most minimal when somebody is sitting for an interview, right? They want to sell themselves. That's when you see it's never think, I can do this. No, I can do that also. I can do the third person, whatever he wants, I can do that as well. So when you have that much of confidence to give somebody in about 20, 30 seconds, why not throughout whatever you do? So it is important to first advocate for your own self. Only when you are able to advocate for your own self will somebody else advocate for you. So it's important for you to do that. That's the best way to get rid of your self-doubt and be a little more confident in what you do.
I think it's more about mindset, what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. Because every day I also listened one of the audio. It's like 34 or 35 minutes without faith. It's The Strangest Secret by Al Nightingale. And one of the that audio, he talk about you become what you want to think about yourself. That's what you talking about, more into the mindset things. As a HR, what you have to do, what you have to do that, how will you be different from other people? Like, let's say, maybe talk about more personal branding. Okay, you need to be develop your personal brand. What all things to be taken care?
Oh, that's a whole topic in itself altogether. But yes, I think that's a great question. And today it's important because in the fast-paced environment that we're in, with things growing and technology evolving like by every millisecond and a minute, it's important for us to stand apart. It's important for all of us to make a mark. I think all it starts is you understanding yourself, you understanding to understand what you're good at, and trying to present the best version of yourself.
Okay.
Every single time, every single instance that you have takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of consistency, and it takes a lot of passion. So, why I say passion, and I'll come to it in a little bit. Consistency is you need to go at it again and again and again. I'm going to give you an iterative of a boxing ring. They've got rounds. You get punched, you're going to fall down. But if you're not going to get back up, you're going to be called, you know, all called out, or you're going to lose the match. So if you no matter how many rounds go, you're going to get back up, right? And when you get back up, you're going to stand as if you stood in the first round, correct? That's the same way that you need to bring in consistency. Discipline, I can quote all the explanations and words that I want, but how does it come? It comes with practice. It comes with a lot of self preparedness. It comes with a lot of humility that you hold. So, having that discipline is very important. Now, we have a very important presentation. We can't just sit down, be relaxed, and say, you know what, I've got the skills, I'll make it happen. Unless you put the hard work, unless you have a disciplined approach, unless you make an effort to learn, it's not going to work. And the last I say passion is you can do all of this. You can say it's my interest to do for presentations. It's something that I enjoy doing. And when you go in the presentation, you say, "Welcome to the presentation." How does that sound? So I think you need to build passion into what you do. So it's not. I'm just a presentation as an example. Say cooking. You'll see that in your face when you start cooking. Somebody loves cooking, who loves feeding people. I think they'll show that passion when they're doing that art. Somebody who's painting, for that example, you'll see them at their very best when they are painting. They're not disturbed. They don't have a worry in the mind. They're enjoying. People who go on adventure trips, I think they're at their best because they're passionate about it. It's not about they just buying all the gears in the shop. They probably just pick the vehicle up, go wherever they want to go, and they will not even plan. I think the passion drives you to do a lot. So I think there's a great quote from Steve Jobs that I had. So if you love what you do, you don't have to work a single day in your life, right? So I think it's important for you to build your brand on your own. And remember, let's be realistic. Nobody's going to build it for you. You will have to do it on your own.
Correct word.
Right? And it takes time. You could go out and say, you know what? Hello world, I'm good at this. People will move on. Nobody's going to listen to you. But when you go out there and say, consistently say, hello world, I'm good at this, and keep doing it again and again, at some point in time, people are going to turn back and see, oh, what is he trying to say?
Absolutely.
And they look at you. So that's your first stage to build your personal brand. But of course, it comes with a lot of effort, a lot of patience, a lot of discipline, and you need to have passion that drives you.
And consistency is very important, right? You need to be consistent.
I'll give you a small example from my own experience. For me to make a move from operations to HR, I had made up my mind about in mid version of my career itself.
Yeah.
At about when I was 7 years down my career, I knew that this is what I want to do. I was very clear about it. Sometimes having that clarity helps. And I consistently tried to go out, speak to people about it, and I consistently put myself forward to say, this is what I want to do. And I exhibited how I could do that very well. So there could be people in saying, if it is something to do with training, I'm sure it is you who we will look at. And it's that personal brand that you build over a period of time. But it took me 7.5 years for me to constantly upskill myself until a moment came and the opportunity arose. And when the opportunity arose, people say, it's made for you. I said, no. It took me 7.5 years to build myself.
Correct.
So people need to understand that there's a lot of effort that goes behind it. It's not the 1.5 hours that you sit in an interview. It's what you do before that interview that shapes and defines who you are as an individual. So that's very important when you try to look to build your personal brand. Have these three things, have a consistent approach to what you do, build that discipline in yourself, and have that passion to drive you. Because if you keep looking for motivation, you're going to feel left out. But if you find it within yourself, you are going to do it again and again. And I teach a lot of topics as well, and I facilitate. There's one quote from Walt Disney. He says, "The best way is to quit talking and begin doing." So you just got to start doing, and you will see the efforts, and you will learn along the way. That's true. You will have to fail. When you learn through your failures, is what makes you more successful. So Edison invented the bulb. Everybody knows he invented the bulb. Do people understand how many experiments failed till he came to invent the bulb?
Like a lot of
history.
time and patience, indeed, and persistence.
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. And as you told, that it's like in present situation, a personal brand is very, very important, irrespective of any kind of a domain, like maybe HR or purchase or admin or any business owner, irrespective of any kind of a profession. How do you going to rate in present situation? Like let's say 1 is a low and 10 is the highest. Where you set the bar that personal branding will be very important according to you?
I would say 10.5 in today's day. I mean, you're nothing without personal brand, right? And you'll have to keep talking to people about it.
Correct.
Now, there is, but again, a statutory warning here. There has to be a semblance of balance where you do it. You can't overdo it or you can't underdo it. We'll have to find a balanced approach to do it, right? I can't hold a placard in my office and say, I'm good at this. It doesn't work that way. You'll have to make use of the opportunities you have to prepare. That's where things like elevator pitch comes to play, where somebody practices their introductions, their skills. They're able to package that. So you practice and rehearse that and keep. When is that going to be useful? Maybe one day.
One day, yeah.
You're in a forum, you're in a meeting, you have everybody sitting next to you. How do you sit down in front of all those people? They say, "Can you tell us about yourself?" Play. That's the day you hit the play button. And that's where it starts. And whenever you get a chance, when you keep talking about things that you love doing, in a manner which is balanced to say, I'm good to do this, I'm willing to learn, from an approach from a stance to say, I'm interested to be contributing to this space, is the way to go. Not saying, I'm great at this, I'm good at this. And there's a fine balance between boasting and there's a fine balance between communicating. I think we'll have to try and see how we get to that. That's where our personal branding will lie perfectly. And sometimes, in certain cases, you don't have to tell anybody anything. Keep doing your job with discipline and consistency, the brand will automatically build. Correct. Right? You don't need to tell anybody about it. That's true. So you keep doing what you do and it will build automatically. Example is you. 10th episode today.
Thank you so
Right?
much. Yeah.
You consistently keep doing something, automatically it's in the word spreads and people know that there's a forum like this where you can come and share your experiences. It's as simple as that. You don't need to search places for examples. You just need to keep doing what you do and you'll get noticed.
Correct.
I'm sure you get noticed, but it'll take some time and you have to have that patience. Results don't come overnight.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's what the purpose of asking this question is, because there are n number of people are talented and they have a very good niche also, but they don't focus on building a personal brand. That's very important. What I understood last a couple of years, you need to focus more on personal brand. As you rightly say, someone going to be recognize you on the 100%, and that's also in a consistent way. If you're not able to do consistently, then okay, let's say I work for 1 month or 2 months. If we expect a result, it doesn't work like that. You need to be consistent, like number of like maybe months or years. You need to do consistently. That's what I believe in that, because there are so young people going to there. They're going to choose after the college. They're going to choose HR or different like department wise. This, if they have to plan now only to build their own personal brand. That's what I believe in that, because that's going to help you a lot. That's going to take a long, long way. Sort of believe.
So let's do this, okay? Let's make it simple for people to understand. Let me ask you a few rapid fire questions. You tell me how branding works, okay? So when I say chocolate, what comes to your mind?
Cadbury's definitely.
Fantastic. When I say noodles, what comes to your mind?
Maggie,
Okay, fantastic. When I say car, what comes to your mind?
Hyundai.
Fantastic. So see, these brands, they have taken a lot of effort to build this. Correct. Okay. Now, how do we get into that space where somebody says, I'm looking for Python, Baswaraj? How do we get to that space? So I'm looking for sustainable products. It's Basuraj. For you to get to that space is going to take time. Okay. People talk about saying he's the next Sachin Tendulkar, he's the next Virat Kohli, but when are you going to be the first you? Right? We all have to be our own brands.
Correct.
For us to advocate ourselves. And if we shy away from talking ourselves, then I don't think anybody else is going to do it for you. So you'll have to build that over a period of time, and then brand building becomes very easy. So it takes effort, it takes a lot of time, but with time, you would start seeing that there will be people who will start noticing you, and then that's where your journey begins. Then how do you safeguard that brand becomes a bigger of a challenge to deal with in itself. So you're not a one-time fling. I'm a foodie, so I'll give you an iterative from food. Okay, so you know all these outlets around the area of South Bangalore, right? So say you take the the Brahmin's coffee bar, which was started like about 40-50 years ago.
Correct. 1980s, I think. Yeah.
Consistency is the example.
Correct.
There are 4 dishes.
Yes.
They serve those 4 dishes. Even to today, they still serve those 4 dishes.
Correct.
The recipes that they make are the same recipes that they follow. They haven't changed. Now, over a period of time, it's taken time for them to build that brand. All right. Now, there are a lot of people who want to steal their brand and have names. So, but yet, that brand continues to remain. It doesn't change.
Correct.
Rameshwaram Cafe today has built its brand.
Yes.
In like that. They said, in an era when Western culture came to India, people saying only the McDonald's and the Domino's can rule the roost. We see there's a lot of studies that done. So even a idli and dosa can make a change.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the paradigm changed the industry as well. So those are things for us to take inspiration from.
Dubai also, I think.
Yeah. So there's inspirations for us to take from.
Yeah.
So I still read a board, it takes 25 minutes to build your dosa, right? So that's also a brand with the way So make the perfect dosa, they will take that much time. They think so much through for their brand to be how it is positioned. So when a restaurant can think for a dosa, I'm sure we can think a lot for our own selves in terms of how we position ourselves and what we want to do. All it takes is a little effort. I think we will get noticed with a period of time.
Correct. But doing all those things as an individual, you need to be more confident, right? And when the person don't have a confident, maybe he has to choose as a mentor or a guide who can help him to build that kind of a personal brand. What do you take on that? Like when the person don't have so much of confidence also.
No, certainly. I think without a mentor, without a coach, it's very difficult for any of us to get ahead because we'll have to fall back on experiences. We'll have to fall back on people. But how much do we tap on it and how much do we put the effort is also something that we'll have to look at. You could say that everybody has all the talent, but they don't have the confidence. Now, building confidence is not too difficult. Remember, put yourself through a situation and see how you go. You'll probably fail once, you'll fail twice, but the third time, you're wiser than the first two, right? So as you go at it, my stance remains the same. A mentor and a coach is very instrumental in anybody's journey. I have had a lot of mentors, I have a lot of coaches, I still do even today, who I take advice from to see where I am going and how am I doing in myself. And it's important to connect with these people. And it's not just within my organization, it's outside too.
Oh,
So you need to connect with people to understand how are you doing. You need to have some people who ask you tough questions. So for you to know whether you're really doing what you're doing. And also, you need to have some of those wonderful friends that you have who come and tell you, are you out of your mind? Don't you know you can do this to build your confidence? Right? So you need to have all sets of people. It is the Hanuman story. And I bring this Hanuman story a lot of times that I speak. Unless I come and tell you, you're super good at this, would you really know? Unless I come and tell you saying, you have the skill, why aren't you using it? Why are you making a mockery of it? You have so much of skill in you. Don't you realize that? It could be an eye-opener. It could also be some small directions like this that could boost somebody's confidence and elevate their confidence to the next level. Boosting confidence is not difficult, provided you're willing to make that effort, to go that extra mile, to go reach out and ask. If you hesitate, you're always going to be hesitating. But if you push forward, then I think it should work.
great.
Let's talk about this. So I've been a backbencher myself, or I've been
Me too.
sitting behind the desk, okay? But so when you go to a conference meet, and hand on heart, tell me this. How often have you gone and first sat in the front series?
Never.
Right? That also talks a lot about our confidence. and we invite it to a conference, unless it's blocked for delegates,
Yeah.
which we would know it could be, I think we need to start putting ourselves a little ahead. Going there, sitting in the front seat, talking to people. Sometimes if you're complacent, it also will hit at your confidence at some point. That go out there, put yourself forward, and there's no harm in sitting in the front. I think when you start embracing it, you'll start accepting it. First time you might feel very nervous, and you might have all onlookers come and say, "Oh, you're sitting here. Something has changed," and things like that could happen. But over a period of time, you'll get comfortable with it. You'll get used to it. The same way is how you build a confidence. Initially, it might sound very difficult, might make you uncomfortable. But remember, only when you get uncomfortable is when you grow.
Yeah, that's so.
And that's important for you to remember all this.
When you feel uncomfortable, so there is something you're growing over to yourself. That's what.
You know that you're learning something new.
Yeah.
You're moving away from where you were comfortable before. So it's good. It's a continuous reality check for us to grow.
Okay, when you talk about more on learning and all, how do you upskill yourself? Like, what are the things you take care about yourself? Like, apart from mentor, taking feedback, or you were discussing with your a guide and all, I were a very close community. Apart from that, how are you going to put on yourself to upskill yourself? Because as I discussed with earlier, there are a lot of learning going to happen in HR fraternity, right? Like, for example, one of the things we discuss about AI. Apart from how are you going to upskill yourself?
I think upskilling is the thing today that everybody needs to do.
Okay.
It's important. You cannot take away that from given any age. You need to upskill yourself constantly throughout your career. For me, upskilling works with the fact that you have an aspiration in mind and you never settle for less. And you've reached a particular stage, your aspiration should grow higher.
Aspiration in professional? Or?
In profession, personal, whichever you said. It doesn't remember the context.
Okay.
As an individual, I want to get here in life.
Okay.
Aspiration. So I'll have to upskill myself. As a professional, I'm here today. I want to probably get into a larger role that I want to get to tomorrow. What's my gap? What are the things I need to work on? Because upskilling takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time away from you, from your family time, from your me time. So you have to be very choosy about where you want to get upskilled from. And as you grow, in your formative years, it is the ocean. You could probably look at everything and anything. But if you have a clear direction in terms of how you upskill yourself, it becomes easy because all your efforts are in the right direction. You're upskilling yourself in terms of what you want to do. So if you're happy with saying, I'm okay with this. So even when you say communication, there is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and level infinity also. It's continuous learning that takes you ahead. How could you shape yourself to be a better individual? How could you shape yourself to be a thought leader? How could you shape yourself to be somebody who people love to listen to? How are you able to shape your experiences in a manner that you want people to listen to you? Are all the things that come to your mind when you're looking to upskill yourself. Now that you know this clarity, what are the things that I need to do to upskill myself? And then the resources are aplenty. I can tap on my mentors. I can tap on my coaches. I can read articles online. I can find out who's doing this already. Take inspiration from existing people who are around. Talk to people about this. Engage, converse, learn, grow. That's exactly how you probably do this.
Super. Yeah, you talk about consistency, right? Could you tell about one thing that consistency made you to sit on? Like you are there in one of the banking sector, the company you are in VP, right? Which that one habit or one consistency you made like from last 15 years?
Never be afraid to ask anything that you want and never stop learning are two things that I have actually done in my career. So you will have to continuously explore, you'll have to continuously learn. And I'll give you my personal example. So when I started off, I started in a space in one team. And as I grew, I moved to another team. And when I grew further, I moved to another team within my division. So I never stopped exploring to learn new. And you will have to have the courage to take that plunge. When you want to learn something new, you'll have to have that courage. Having that personal courage to try something out of the ordinary and not be complacent to where you are. Over a period of time, that has helped me gain some versatility in my career through my journey. So my tip is very simple. Be willing to explore, be willing to take on something new, and have that urge to learn. When you have these three things, I'm sure any career, anywhere that you go, you're going to make it to the best in the top ranks in the organization. because it takes that much amount of time for you to build these things in you. And when you build it over a period of time with consistency, with discipline, of course, like I said, with passion, you're going to be definitely an individual that everybody would wish to see.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's been a great conversation with you from last couple of minutes. Now, can you give some tips, like couple of tips that can help our audience, especially HR professionals?
Now, tips for what, if you would say,
Maybe like especially for related HR only.
any tips related to HR?
Yeah.
I think instead of tips related to HR, I'm sure there's a lot of experts out there. I'll probably give some generic tips for all of us to follow that's helped me at least. Maybe it could help the others. Stay updated always. Ensure that you know what's the current trends out there, understand and read the news. It's very important to stay up to date of what's happening within your country and outside of your country as well. Current affairs is very important. Two, develop an habit to find time for self-care. It's very important. Today's day, in all the fast paced and super competition that we're all in, we never take out some time for our own selves. And I always tell this, managing your time and energy is a big, big important thing that fuels more energy in you to do what you want to do. So even if you take out 5 minutes a single day, and I'm hoping the audience listening it would agree with me that you can take out 5 minutes for yourself in 24 hours, in respect of whatever role you're in, wherever you are. Now, 5 minutes a day, and the little math that I know, 7 days a week is 35 minutes. Into a month, you amplify that. Into a year, you further amplify that. So I think when you're able to give yourself 35 minutes a week and that becomes consistent, you'll start giving more time for yourself in a week. So giving time to yourself, managing your energy is very, very important. Number 3 is follow your passion. I think it's important for you, the world and everybody around you, you always will get advice. Listen to all the advice. It's very important to gain a lot of perspective from anybody that's sharing their advice to you because it could be for your benefit. Listen to everyone, but do what your heart tells you to and follow your passion. My 3 tips for everybody to follow.
That's great. Thank you so much. It's been a great conversation with you from last couple of minutes. Especially, we understand more on industries wise. We talk about technology. We talk about mindset. We talk about consistency. More, my favorite thing is like personal branding. That's what I take away from these things. And thank you so much for coming over here, taking your time and just helping to talk about your experience, your stories to the audience. Thank you so much for coming.
No, it's a pleasure, Basuraj. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here, giving us a platform to share our experience. And I think kudos to you and your team for all that you do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Basuraj. Thanks. It's a pleasure.
The sustainable gift for
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Had a great conversation with Anjan. Here, my 3 takeaway from this episode. The number 1 is personal branding. It's very important in present situation or present what is happening in the market. You need to focus more on personal brand. If you have a personal brand yourself, you'll be different from in your domain, other competitor or any other people. The second thing is you need to be more passion. Whatever things you're going to do in your life, you need to be more passion. That's going to help you to build your purpose. That's what I learned from this episode. The third one is courage. You need to be more courageous because as he mentioned, he started from his career as an operation, then he moved to HR. He explored a lot of things. He took a lot of decision in a particular situation with the courageous. These 3 tips is very important for me to take away from this episode. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please do share with your friends and professional network. You want to know more about inside of HR? Please do subscribe this channel. See you in the next episode. The leaders speak. Thank you.